Tactical shooters. It's a subgenre you either love or cringe at. It offers a completely different experience to any casual shooter out there, as it has a greater focus on realism. And over the last few years, it's been growing on me. I was one of those gamers who had to play for something, wherever that be a pointless rank in either Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege, cosmetics you unlock through a shitty battle pass, or playing hours on end just to slightly become a better player. Tactical shooters have completely moved away from this, and honestly, it's been a nice vacation away from Adderall-fueled gamers. Games like Arma, Squad, Escape from Tarkov, wait, actually, maybe not you. These games demand teamwork, coordination, and a much slower, more deliberate playstyle. But tactical shooters are obviously not exclusively online, which brings me to one of my personal favourites, Ready or Not.
Police, hands on your head! Civilians have been taken hostage. Stay here, do not get in our way. Drop your weapon, now!
A SWAT simulator where realism is the core focus. This game will allow you to coordinate a SWAT unit through a variety of missions and isn't exactly for the faint of hearts. It's really hardcore, not just with its gameplay, but with the topics it also tackles. It gives players a glimpse at the darker side of humanity, active shooters, hostage scenarios, terrorism, and P. Diddy. In fact, multiple P. Diddies. This game doesn't shy away from graphic violence and sensitive topics because it's part of the game's core identity. Now, I would love to spend the next hour glazing this game, but this video isn't actually about Ready or Not, but rather the game that birthed its very existence, that game being SWAT 4. Now, why am I talking about a SWAT simulator that is 20 years old when I could talk about a more modern and refined version? Well, I'm a bit late to that game, and if you're already in the loop, you've probably already seen the countless videos milking the game for views. Am I jealous? No, of course not. Piss off. SWAT 4 is the next best thing for me to talk about, and I was shocked to find out just how big this game was and still is. It's still garnered as the best in the genre for multiple reasons, and after playing the game for the last week, I was pleasantly surprised just how well this game has aged. I mean, sure, it looks a little rough around the edges, and some of the character models look like utter dog shit, but other than that, it feels modern. Actually, I think the best game I can compare it to is, funny enough, Ready or Not. The controls are practically the same, the utility the game offers you is the same, the AI, though not as advanced, still controls and behaves the same. Just by playing SWAT 4, you can immediately see all the areas Ready or Not took inspiration from. The game almost feels identical. If you told someone this was Ready or Not run on the lowest graphic settings as possible, they might, just might slightly believe you. So in this video, we take a deep look into what makes SWAT 4, in my eyes, a masterpiece, and the very game that redefined tactical shooters as a whole.
911 emergency 107, hello?
I'm at the A-bomb. These guys are shooting it out or something. They hit my girlfriend.
What is the address?
Shit, I don't know the address. I mean, it's the A-bomb on Adelaide.
Upon booting the game up, you will be greeted with a main menu that goes pretty hard. This game features a career mode. There's a total of 21 missions for you to progress through, and I opted to play through the entire game on hard, and hard it indeed was. In order for you to successfully complete a mission, you will need a minimum of 75 points to pass.
Motherfucker, mate.
And I will elaborate on why exactly this was a pain in the arse a bit later. If you want, you can enter trainer mode to test out the variety of equipment the game offers you. Before you enter a mission, it's important to listen to the debrief so you can get an idea what you're getting yourself into. It helps you prepare the appropriate equipment for the job, and trust me, you will be switching out your gear frequently. Not only yours, but for your entire team too. That could either be their armor, weapons, and utility. I always made sure that at least one of my men had a shotgun equipped. Not only are they extremely overpowered, but it's handy for scaring people into submission and for breaching. I'm not going to go into great detail about the gameplay just yet, as I think it's better I leave it for the missions that get really tricky. But the first mission we're going on is one I really want to talk about, and it's one of the main reasons why I wanted to make a video on this game. We have an arrest warrant for a man who has potentially kidnapped a woman. Sounds rather simple, however, this one mission alone completely subverts your expectations.
Central BCC to Adam Boy and Truck 1 on TAC 1.
U1. Go ahead.
U1, SWAT is needed for high-risk arrest, warrant service, and possible hostage rescue at 25 Glendive Lane, Bronx.
In the early hours of the morning, we arrive just outside the suspect's gaff. It turns out he's not only wanted for the recent case, he's in fact wanted for several homicides and kidnappings. His DNA was recently matched with several of his victims, and now it's time to bring him in. Oddly enough, it's rather calming outside. It's quiet, peaceful, and strangely comforting. The night sky has an orange glow to it, and bugs chirp in the background. The atmosphere starts off really soothing, which leads you into a false sense of security. We know what kind of person the suspect is based on his charges. However, to really get an idea who he really is, we must breach into his sanctuary, the one place he can let his guard down and let his true self out. Sitting on the front porch is a Halloween themed pumpkin, which is a good indicator that things are about to get spooky. We make entry, and what we step into is a completely different contrast to what's outside. His home has seen better days. Rubbish is littered all over the place, meat's left out in the open, bugs roam the floor picking at leftovers, and this creepy statue that eyeballs the living room. Just the atmosphere alone is enough to make your skin crawl. The peaceful soundscape that played outside turns into a low hum. It's now become unpredictable, and it only gets worse the deeper we go. Playing on the radio is a news broadcast, and the mother of the victim pleads for her daughter's life. It's rather haunting.
I would just like to say, Melinda, if you can hear me, honey, I love you very much. And I'd like to say to whoever took her, I beg you, please, please bring my daughter back. Please.
That was the mother of Melinda Klein, an apparent victim of the so-called law school.
Based on the environment alone, it gives you an idea of the suspect's mental state. He's not taking care of himself, and he clearly doesn't give two shits about his living space. It tells you two possible things. He's either severely depressed and preys on others to inflict the pain he's feeling, or he's hardly ever home. In the garage, you can find his van, and it's likely he's using it to kidnap his victims. What's strange, however, is that he's not home alone. Upon entry, you will quickly find his mother, who immediately starts to plead her son's innocence.
Police! Put your hands up!
Melinda,
now you got this
if
all
you can
wrong.
Hear me, honey.
Lawrence,
police! Get down now!
She already knows we're here for him. Either she doesn't know what kind of monster he is, or she's just being protective. She's also pretty fucking uncooperative. So I had to order my men to pepper spray her so that we can put on the cuffs. Sorry Grandma, it's for your protection, I swear. With her out of the way, we can explore this place a little further. At the end of the hall, you will find her bedroom, and you will see just how clean everything is compared to what's out in the living room and kitchen. This most likely means her son is the man of the house, and likes things to be kept the way it is. One thing that wasn't mentioned in the brief, however, is this guy here. He's unknown to us and poses an immediate threat. It's not our job to find out who he is, but the SWAT unit reports him as a suspected accomplice. You can either take him in alive, or game end him. It's really up to you, but you do get bonus points for arresting him. I chose the easy option. Some of the missions in this game love to throw a wrench into the works as you get deeper into them, sometimes by throwing more suspects at you than expected, or completely changing the objective altogether. The game loves to keep you on your toes, and to always expect the unexpected. This mission drives that home. The basement contains something that completely warps your perception of this game. At first glance, you may think this is just a simple SWAT simulator game, but really, it likes to expose you to the dark side of society. Something that Ready or Not took to the extreme, but more on that later. The basement has been turned into a sadistic playroom, keeping rats in cages for experiments and potentially torture, which is common among psychopaths. They will start off by harming animals, and once that no longer satisfies their urges, they then move on to something more daring. However, this suspect isn't your typical killer. Down in the deepest part of his home, you will find this.
TOC, this is entry team. I have an injured civilian ready to evacuate.
Copy. EMTs standing by.
Locked inside a room, you will find a woman restrained and hopeless. She's, however, unknown to us. This is a completely different victim, and he prefers to keep them around for something more disturbing. He makes paper mache models of his victims before he does any killing. Floating above her, you will see all the trophies of the people he's killed. He does this for his own sick pleasure. Through this door here, you will find one of his recent projects. He has dug a deep tunnel to build a room where no one can hear his victims. He's down here now with the woman he's recently captured, and he gives up almost immediately, and I don't blame him. I would also surrender if I had a 12 gauge pointed directly at my face. We finally find the missing victim, and judging by her current state, she's been down here for quite some time. Sitting in the room with her is her unfinished paper mache model. She spent every minute terrified for her own life, wondering whether or not she would spend her final moments inside this prison, and he watched every second of it. This is where the mission ends, but you can explore a little bit more if you want to. This game does a fantastic job telling a story through its environments. Just by looking around, you will learn some incredibly disturbing details, but I think the worst of them all is this. Just before the final room in the basement, you will find his living space. His bed sits in front of a TV where he watches his victims. He gets sexual satisfaction off their fear, but that's not the most disturbing part. Sitting on the bed, you will see a few covers for VHS tapes, which presumably contains footage of his victims, and sitting in the corner, you will see a bookshelf filled with these tapes. This guy has taken the lives of many people.
You can't take her away from me.
Suspect is compliant.
Fairfax is a haunting level. It exposes you to horror that I don't think anyone was prepared for. Since it's advertised as a SWAT simulator, you would probably presume the levels would be hostage rescue missions with some active shooter situations, which it does, but they decided to go with this approach. It's to get players into the right mindset, subvert your expectations, and be ready for anything. Since I'm running the Elite Force mod, it makes this mission the first one you play, and it took me by surprise. Now, SWAT 4 isn't a horror game, so to speak, but it does contain many elements of horror. There are levels that contain some sensitive stuff and doesn't shy away from graphic violence and imagery. On a lighter note, the next few missions throw you up against gangbangers,
Police! Put your hands up!
drug dealers and robbers, a cast of unpredictable criminals. There is some advantages here, however. Sure, their behaviour is completely random, but they scare pretty easily and will submit if you show just a little force. If you want to play it extra safe, you can use a selection of non-lethal weapons to make them surrender. Beanbag shotguns, a taser, paintball gun, even your fists. One slight issue though, non-lethal is very hit or miss. Sometimes it feels overpowered, and other times they just don't care. The beanbag shotgun can even kill if you're not careful.
Police! Put your hands up!
That fucking...
01 reporting. Suspect spotted side 1
He's
level
dead?
2 in the living room.
Wait, this is killing him! This is meant to be a beanbag! The taser hits hard but has awful hit registration.
I'll get you, bitch!
And the paintball gun, honestly, it's actually pretty solid. Once you get a suspect to submit, you can technically leave them unrestrained. They won't move an inch even when you're halfway across the map. Ready or not, fix this. In that game, suspects might try and trick you while surrendering, pulling a knife, throwing punches, or even picking their weapon back up if you leave them alone. They can even bolt for the exit. In SWAT 4 though, once they're on their knees, that's it, GG. However, this is where different criminal types come into play. Early missions are full of common thugs, unpredictable, easily scared, but dangerous enough to take hostages with them if you're not quick enough. Later on, you will meet the level 100 crooks. Tougher, smarter, and wearing body armor, non-lethal becomes much riskier here. Enter the flashbang.
FBI, open up!
The ultimate compliance tool. It's loud, disorientating, and pretty much guarantees submission. It even whites out your screen. Wait, I thought this game was supposed to be realistic. Honestly, forget the non-lethals. Flashbangs work more consistently, and since they're classed as a tool, you can still carry a real gun for when things go to shit. Now, since there are a total of 21 missions, I'm not going to go through each one in great detail. Instead, I've selected a few that stood out to me the most. Just like how I covered the Fairfax mission, I'll be going through these levels in detail too. But I am going to summarise some of the missions because I do think it's important to bring up, since I will be comparing them to what Ready or Not offers. This game offers you a total of 18 missions that all look and feel unique from one another. Just like SWAT 4, it also has hostage scenarios, barricaded suspects, active shooters and so on. What else is cool about these missions is that they're all interconnected. This game basically follows a story of leads. For example, in one mission, you raid someone's house and you discover some pretty dark material. This traces you back to the place that produces it, and then that gives you a lead to a database that stores it. Basically, some missions are part of the same investigation, whereas the missions in SWAT 4 are all unique and not linked in any way, which doesn't sound as interesting, right? Well, at first, I thought the same. SWAT 4 offers a lot more variety and honestly, better replayability. They also felt more authentic. Let me explain. The missions often stood out for their grounded approach. Instead of constant high-stakes, Hollywood-style action, you respond to situations that felt like they were pulled straight from a police blotter. You secure a small gas station during an active armed robbery, or raid in a cramped apartment complex used by drug dealers. These environments weren't exaggerated for spectacle. They are small, believable spaces with ordinary layouts and civilian clutter. This grounded design made the tension sharper because the scenarios felt authentic, unpredictable, and uncomfortably close to real-life police work. Now, I'm not saying Ready or Not scenarios are unrealistic, but like, there's this one mission where you raid a live streamer and the entire level feels like a parody. Its mission design often gravitates towards intense, high-drama scenarios that felt like blockbuster set pieces, instead of handling the kind of routine but tense callouts police might face regularly. We often get thrust into large-scale situations, defusing bombs and sprawling public spaces, intervening in chaotic mass shootings, or rescuing hostages from heavily armed terrorists. These situations are cinematic and quite scary at times, but their scale and frequency can make them feel less grounded in day-to-day police work. This shift toward constant high-stakes action undermines immersion, replacing unpredictability and subtle tension with more scripted, predictable bursts of spectacle. Sure, there are a couple of missions that do feel authentic, but they're incredibly short. I do love the missions in Ready or Not. It's the first SWAT simulator I've ever played, and I do think it does some things better than SWAT 4. But after playing it, I want more of this in Ready or Not, and I'm sure many others do too.
Drop your weapons and hit the floor!
Suspect visible. Lost sight of him.
Put your hands up and get down! Put your weapons! Get those hands up!
After completing the first few levels, this is where the game turns up the challenge and enters sensitive territory.
911 emergency 107, hello?
I'm at the A-bomb. These guys are shooting it out or something. They hit my girlfriend.
What is the address?
Shit, I don't know the address. I mean, it's the A-bomb on Adelaide.
We swiftly respond to an active shooter situation, and the scene is already hectic. Civilians crowd the streets outside, and gunshots can be heard within the building. There is mass panic. No one has any idea what is going on, how many shooters there are, and how many victims are painfully waiting to be saved. Multiple gunmen have been spotted, but no one can pinpoint how many exactly. The tone is immediately set. This mission is the first real test of pressure. We are going in blind, and every second is precious. Breaching in, we set our eyes and ears onto the horror. Blood stains the walls and floors. Bullet holes are pocketed throughout the room, and bullet casings are littered over the floor. We find one of the victims here, bleeding out. As you stabilise him, more gunshots echo throughout the building, and it just fills you with dread.
At your back.
Casualties are climbing, and the number of suspects is still unknown. This sort of pressure probably reflects exactly what police officers have experienced in an active shooter situation. This is something you can't rush. Tough decisions must be made in order to save as many people as possible. I imagine rushing towards the gunfire with zero idea of what's going on is against protocol, because you might miss something crucial. Multiple gunmen could be roaming around the building, and leaving certain areas too soon or too late could lead to innocent lives being lost. There's this saying in the military, and it goes like this: slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. The meaning behind this saying is that you should never go against your training during high stress situations. By following the training that's been drilled into them, it ensures the safety for not only for themselves, but for many others that get caught in the crossfire. Law enforcement and soldiers are some of the most heroic people in the world, and probably do heroic things on a daily basis. However, there's times where they can't afford to be a hero. Rushing straight to the gunfight in a situation like this may lead to them saving the lives of a few, but it may lead to many others being harmed. By smoothly sweeping the building, it ensures they save the lives of as many people as possible, because if they don't, they might miss something incredibly crucial. That's exactly what you should do on this level. By taking your time going from room to room, it will go down a lot more smoothly. The gunmen are plotted all over the place and have taken hostages, but some of them could just be roaming around. The AI could potentially flank you here if you're not careful, so it's important to leave one of your teams to cover certain areas. Or you could use the wedge tool to block off certain entrances. This tool can be used on any door and it will prevent anyone from opening it. Perfect for high stress situations where anything can happen. The door wedge is so important for later levels in the game as the AI gets a lot more unpredictable. They can flee from gunfire and may set themselves up in a room to ambush you, or if you leave them long enough, they might come back for round 2 from an unexpected location. The door wedge denies them that. You can trap them inside rooms and deal with them later, or cut off access to certain areas to prevent them from hiding. On this level in particular, there's up to 13 gunmen, so door wedges will help you take them down while they're still in small groups. Some hallways are wide and some are tight. There are openings everywhere. Suspects could be anywhere, so it's important to clear them properly. Their spawns are completely random. Some shooters could be on their own hiding, or may even be grouped up in some rooms. This place feels suffocating. With every turn being a risk, it builds on the tension. Yet we can't exactly rush down the halls without clearing our backs. Controlling your squad is very vital here, and I know I haven't spoken about their commands yet, and that's because I'm saving it for later. You can't exactly use complex tactics here, as there are too many civilians and some take time to perform. It's best to just clear these rooms one by one using simple methods.
Spotted. Fall in and stay close. I'll take orders.
Besides, these shooters scare very easily. Some will surrender almost immediately, while others are a lot less compliant. But what actually happened here? Well, it turns out this wasn't a mindless attack against innocent lives. They weren't the targets. Two rival gangs bumped into each other and things quickly escalated, resulting in a gunfight where many people were caught in the crossfire. But in the other mission similar to this one, it's pretty much a terrorist attack. An attack happens at a concert. This group believed the music being played there was about worshipping the devil, and that anyone who attended were part of a satanic cult. They were originally a somewhat peaceful movement who protested against material that would worship Satan in any way, but they started to think their voices weren't being heard. So they decided the best way to fight this evil was to carry out an evil act. Ready or Not also has a mass shooting level, and it's honestly one of the most terrifying missions in the game. It has many controversial levels, and this one is definitely right up there. We respond to a terrorist attack at a nightclub, and it's horrific. Bodies are piled on top of each other, with mobile phones scattered all over the place. One haunting detail they added was that all of the victims' phones are ringing. The group carrying out this attack are heavily armed and are equipped with armoured and explosive vests, completely raising the stakes. It's one of the hardest levels in the entire game because of its setting. A lot of them blend into the dark and the music is on full blast. Neon Tomb is fucking scary, and unfortunately, the reality we live in. Events like this have happened and many probably choose to ignore it, not because they don't care, but because they are terrified to see the horrors humanity can commit. Ready or Not doesn't stop there, however. It contains some levels that go into these sensitive topics, and would you believe me when I tell you that this isn't even the most controversial level. So controversial in fact, that just a few days ago it had to be censored, which goes against every principle Void Interactive had, but that's a topic for later.
911 emergency 107, hello?
Gunmen just invaded my company. I'm not making this up, you gotta believe me.
Where are you, sir?
I'm at work. The Wainwright Office Center, Suite 130. I'm under my desk. You gotta do something, damn it!
We have officers in the area responding now, sir. Can you tell me how many attackers there are?
I don't know, at least 3, there maybe 4. Look, I'm not going out there and counting them.
Can you give me a description? What are they armed with?
What? They look like some kind of goddamn terrorists. How should I know what they're armed with? Oh shit.
Hello?
This next mission takes place inside an office complex. It's a company that specialises in data protection, which, funny enough, is pretty fucking relevant right now. Oh, that would have been a good segue if I had a sponsor. Right now, it's under siege. A gang of bank robbers have completely cocked up their heist and fled from the scene, but instead of leaving the city, they've decided to take shelter inside this building. Little did they know, it's currently occupied by a bunch of workers. It's a Saturday and they assumed it would be empty. They are not exactly professionals and they were not prepared for this. They are scattered all over the place, trying their best to keep the situation under control by taking as many hostages as possible, including the CEO. The mission is simple, either capture or obliterate the robbers and save everyone. However, this place is filled with little hidey spots. The main room has a bunch of office cubicles, which makes it the perfect ambush spot. So, play this level like you're in a game of Rainbow Six Siege. Check and pre-fire every single corner to make sure you don't take a 12 gauge to the face.
Don't let him shoot me!
Okay, maybe don't pre-fire. There is a much safer way of playing this mission, and that's teamwork, which obviously applies to every mission, but now is the perfect time to showcase the SWAT unit. The best way I can explain how they work is whatever you can do, they can also do it. You just need to give them the orders to do so. You will have a total of 4 squad mates with you that are broken down into pairs. You will have a red team and a blue team. This will allow you to give each unit different commands. One team can clear rooms with you, while the other makes sure no one sneaks up on you. Or, if you want everyone to act under one team, you can give gold commands. Before any mission in the game, you are able to change everyone's gear, so if you want someone to be a dedicated breacher, you can do that. If you want someone to run a marksman rifle, go ahead, though I really don't advise it, they are pretty shit. You have complete freedom over what they carry and it opens up a lot of different playstyles for you. On this mission in particular, the smartest thing to do is to utilise the wand as much as possible. This will allow you to safely check rooms before you enter them, and if there's a suspect waiting for you, there are multiple ways you can play it. The wand can also be used to look around corners safely, which is perfect for this level. When it comes to breaching, you can either walk in like an idiot or catch them by surprise. You can breach the door in a variety of ways, such as clearing the room with a simple flash grenade to stun anyone inside, which should make it easy to subdue them, or kill them, it's up to you. Blowing your load through the door is also an option. The blast is enough to concuss people, but you can combine it with a flash grenade to be extra safe. Shotguns can also be used to breach, and it's much quicker than applying C2 to the door. But you really should only use these tools if the door is locked. If you want a more stealthy approach, anyone on the team can open a locked door with a pick lock. But the great thing about the level design in this game is that there are multiple ways to get around and you're not forced down one linear path. The SWAT unit obviously has some basic commands too. You can tell them to move and clear any room at will, move anywhere you want them to go, hold positions, cover certain angles or restrain civilians. One thing I found hilarious about the AI in this game is that sometimes they show no fucking mercy. When clearing a room, they will basically destroy everything that moves, but if you're lucky, they might arrest some suspects. Their AI is good enough to protect themselves, to the point where they don't really need you to complete a mission, most of the time. Now, depending on who you ask, you might hear the AI in this game is good, or you might hear they're the worst thing humanity has ever created. And I mean, they're both correct, I guess. At times, the AI works as intended, and they will carry out orders without dying. But there are moments where they turn into complete idiots.
Wait now. Lost you, sir. Orders.
I kept getting this really annoying bug where no one was shooting anything after a breach. For some reason, when the AI walks straight into a suspect, they just refuse to shoot and get dropped like a sack of shit. Here's the best example I have. So we do a simple room breach, right? The room is tiny and there's only one suspect, so it should be GG. But nope, they just walk in and 75% of the team get spawn killed by one guy.
Lost sight of them.
This kept happening throughout my entire playthrough, and it forced me to restart so many levels. You and your team can die very easily if you're not wearing the correct armor for certain missions. You can just wear basic Kevlar against pistols and shotguns, but when you go up against rifles, that Kevlar isn't going to do anything. Eventually, you will unlock stronger armor as you progress, and it does make the game about 10% easier.
Hands in the air! Bro! There they are! Lead is down!
Yet, don't think you will be safe wearing this stuff. No matter what, you can still die in a microsecond if you get caught lacking. In fact, I'm pretty sure a headshot can kill you instantly. Thankfully, this mission isn't too bad. They're still using basic weapons, but some of them do wear Kevlar. The real issue is, there's a lot of them. I recommend at least equipping some armor-piercing rounds to be extra safe, but a well-placed headshot is all you need. I know I haven't covered any of the weapons, and that's mainly down to the fact it's all preference, but you do have access to a large range of weapons. You have access to rifles, snipers, submachine guns, shotguns and so on. The ammo you use is more important, but I find it funny you are able to equip a Glock 18. At first, I thought this might be a decent backup, but that's until I tried to shoot someone with it and my gun hit the ceiling. This gun has more recoil than the AK from CS, and that's saying a lot. Absolutely terrible weapon, never again. If you're looking to accidentally shoot a civilian, then this weapon is for you. This mission is also one of the biggest in the early stages. It has a shit ton of rooms to check on each floor, and the suspects could be anywhere. I actually love this mission simply because of its environmental design. It's not run down like all the other locations we've been to up until this point in the game, and the way it's designed adds a lot to the immersion. The office cubicles look like something you would see in an actual office. Each one has character. Either messy, clean, or has a bunch of personal items that make them feel human. The CEO even has a bike outside his office. Something like this is so unnecessary, but it makes it feel just a little more grounded. It feels like something you might see in real life. Even the company posters placed all around the place. It looks like something you might see in an office that specialises in data protection. You will even notice that some of the computers are either old or new. The company is currently migrating to newer hardware, which makes sense for this kind of business. I know it seems trivial, but small details like this can add so much to environmental storytelling. While we're on this topic, there's some details I want to go over in some other levels. Since this game does a good job telling a story in each mission. Deeply interwoven in these levels is an identity and narrative which separates them from most generic shooters out there. For example, the Food Wall restaurant. We learn that the man who owns it is secretly running a weapons modifications business above his facade. He uses Food Wall as a front to hide his criminal activities and only accepts cash. This way, he can funnel his dirty money into his legit business cash flow without raising suspicion. Investigating his workshop, we can see posters in his room that are all about guns. It's not just a business to him, but a hobby. Just like your average American, he loves his guns. He plays video games when he's not working, into fitness, and he clearly sucks at darts. There are tiny holes surrounding the board, which marks every time he's missed. These details give him a personality, one that most people wouldn't even take notice of, but it gives you a peek into the kind of person he is. In the gas station robbery level, we can see that the suspect scared the workers into submission by plastering bullet holes over the wall. They didn't kill anyone, but instead took hostages. One cool detail that most people will miss is that you can see them forcing the clerk to open the cash register. It's basically almost impossible to see this detail without flying around, since the AI starts changing positions once they know you're inside. Even though these robbers are basically crackheads trying to get a quick fix, you can tell they've done this before. They've took the cameras out, took hostages, and they even broke into the safe in the back. They're clearly not professional since the robbery was pretty messy, but it was a good effort. I also like how the break room has just been turned into a den for the employees. They have a sofa set up sitting in front of a TV so they can pass time or neglect their job. And look, there's that same dartboard again. Man, everyone in this city just sucks at darts. The other thing this game does great is make the city feel alive through the environments and sound. You hear police sirens among a large crowd outside of crime scenes, trains actively running during missions, cars driving by, advertisements scattered around with unique branding, leaflets from a religious guy promoting his newly established religion. Wait, he looks familiar. Articles about Lawrence Fairfax and his missing victims, even food packaging that belongs to Food Wall, the Chinese restaurant we raided just earlier. The game does a really good job at connecting these levels, and it helps make the city more believable. Each level has identity, down to its design and the criminals within it. The 8-Bomb Nightclub is one of the most believable set pieces in the game. Its interior design appropriately fits its name. Bomber motifs are either painted on its walls or have images of it. The club feels authentic. It sells merchandise of bands that play there. They have music equipment all over the place, and judging by this truck, they were in the middle of moving equipment before the shooting started. The bathrooms are disgusting, which is typical for places like this. The walls are dirty and have graffiti all over it. And there's one funny detail about this. This is the men's room, and this is the ladies' room. See the difference? Men just being men, I suppose. The criminals are also uniquely designed for each level. This city is riddled with crime. From gangs, thieves, drug dealers, crackheads, terrorists, and crazed fanatics, these criminals make you aware of the underlying problems the city has. This is something Ready or Not took massive inspiration from. They have also incorporated this kind of environmental design and storytelling. Just like SWAT 4, the levels within that game also have a unique identity with details that connect its world.
911 emergency 107, hello?
Help! They drove a van right through our lobby. You've got to stop them.
You're on a cell phone, ma'am. Tell me where you are.
Duplessis Diamond Center on Broadway, 1725 Broadway. They've got rifles or something, and they're charging the vault.
Oh shit, this one's a doozy. If there's one mission I struggled on, it's this one. We're up against fully armed professionals who are not fucking around. They crashed a van through the gated entrance and violently took this place under control, hurting or even killing anyone who didn't fall in line. They're packing machine guns and body armor, so now's the perfect time to load up on armor-piercing rounds. These guys aren't just tough, they're resourceful. Their AI is way more unpredictable than the others, acting like a small army rather than amateur thieves. If they get hurt or overwhelmed, they might not surrender. Instead, they'll reposition, try to flank, or lie in wait to ambush you from another room. The building has 3 main areas: the vault, main floor, and upper floor. You can reach each floor through the main lobby or the staircases on either side. And here's the big problem: there are 11 bad guys, all free to move wherever the fuck they want. Most will camp in certain rooms, but they can and will leave if they feel like it. I cannot stress enough how much of a pain in the arse this mission was. These guys are trigger happy and will not hesitate to shoot. And that brings up the biggest fucking problem that haunted my entire playthrough: the dreaded, unauthorized use of deadly force. The one thing that will fuck up your chances of beating a mission. In this game, there's no indicator for when you can and cannot shoot a suspect. It's entirely up to you to figure it out. But there have been so many stupid cases where I lost points because of it. Fair enough, sometimes I do mess up, but explain this. A guy is above us, shooting down at my teammates. 2 seconds later, I kill him, and I lose points, like what the fuck? Or I'll have suspects charging at me with guns, yet apparently I'm not allowed to protect myself. Unauthorized use of force is the #1 killer of any successful mission. You lose 20 points if it happens, and it basically puts you on the brink of losing. From that point on, there's no room for error. Believe me, this shit plagued me during this mission. The best way to tackle it? Leave one team in the main lobby to catch any stragglers trying to run or flank you. take another team and sweep the building slowly, just like the nightclub mission. Rushing will get you killed. One thing I did notice is that these dickheads love to eat lead. Since they're carrying AKs, they can kill you instantly if you don't have enough firepower to drop them.
You got it.
It took me a while to realise I needed more stopping power.
Armor improvements. 12-gauge steel slugs. Armor piercing.
Get down! Fuck! Police! Get down now!
The shotgun loaded with slugs will one-tap these guys, so you don't have to sweat about them soaking up half your mag. This is vital for survival because your armour will barely stop their bullets. Your objective is to secure all the hostages and bring order to chaos. There's actually a cool detail about this level, and it's the criminals themselves. The scary guys with rifles are in tactical gear, but some are wearing suits. Something's fishy here. In the mission debrief, you find out why. It was an inside job. The guys in suits worked here just to case the place. They learned the security methods, the layout, where to find the goods, and the best time to rob it. Right before the heist, the diamond store received a shipment of uncut gems, exactly what they were after. But down in the vault, you can see they got greedy, cracking open lockboxes and basically emptying whatever they could get their hands on. The vault has a time lock and closes every night at 9 PM. The robbers crashed through just before it shut, took hostages and kept it open. I love that detail. You don't even need the mission briefing to understand what happened here, and that goes for every mission in this game. Now I know, I keep glazing the environmental storytelling in this game, but it's just that good. There's really not much else to say about this level, other than it was a pain in the arse.
Central BCC to Adam Boy, Truck 1 on TAC 1.
U1, go ahead.
U1, SWAT is needed for a high-risk arrest warrant service. Detective 26 Adam requests you respond to 2189 Carroll's Road.
U1, roger.
We have a high-risk arrest warrant for a man who's really been up to no good. His name is Andrew Taronne, the leader of his newly established cult. He was originally from a separatist group in Idaho, but recently made Fairview his new home, bringing some of his followers along with him. But he has rapidly been expanding.
Drop the gun!
Indoctrinating helpless and desperate people into his cult, and spreading the word even more with flyers and books. Basically, these guys are nutjobs.
To the dirt, to the dirt, to the dirt and to the earth.
Shut your fucking mouth!
They're extremely uncompliant and are willing to become martyrs for Andrew. They see him as their prophet and will do anything for him just to get some good boy points for their new daddy. He brainwashes everyone he takes under his wing because he has a very special purpose for them. His recent activity has raised suspicion, buying large amounts of chemicals and fertilizer. A warrant was sent out for his arrest, but he's refusing to leave the building. He owns the building and it's where all of his followers are staying, including children. With this mission, you unlock the night vision goggles. Easily one of the worst items in the game. The flashlight in this game sucks, but the night vision goggles will ensure you don't see or even hear shit.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
On this level, you have to be extremely careful with what you decide to unload on. Unlike the previous missions, everyone is basically wearing the same kind of clothes, making it hard to distinguish between who and isn't a suspect. Not only that, there's explosives everywhere. Some are hooked up to doors.
Go, go, go! Jackson is injured.
And the rest are just lying around. You'll find pipe bombs everywhere like it's candy, and I learned the hard way, shooting them will send you to heaven.
Lead is down!
Even using flash grenades will make them explode. Not sure how that works, but flashes are a no-go in most areas of the building. The apartment has multiple floors, and has many rooms on each of them. Since this place is pretty cramped, it's best to leave a team in the hallway to watch the stairs. This way you can catch anyone who tries to flank or flee. Take one team with you to clear rooms, but watch out. This cult is well armed and will throw themselves at you in order to protect their profits. Some do scare easily, but most are incredibly non-compliant. The main objective is to bring Andrew in, alive or dead. That applies to everyone else in the building too. But there is some unarmed suspects. Taking those guys into custody is also dangerous. This cult will kill anyone you have in cuffs, which will terminate the mission almost immediately. This level has some of the best environmental storytelling in the game, because you can get a full understanding on what they are up to just by investigating the many rooms. Firstly, these guys are nutjobs. Not only are they completely brainwashed by Andrew, but they are willing to do anything for him. Anything. This level does have some really dark implications, which I will get to in just a moment. First, let's find out exactly what they're up to. The stockpile of weapons and explosives is your first clue. They've practically become a small army, but their intentions are still a mystery. Investigating the top floor, you will find their church. Written all over the walls are verses from Andrew's book, The Word and the Coming Times. They reference something about transformation after death. Further on, you will find this.
TOC, this is entry team. Be advised, there's a large number of explosives here. Any detonation could level this whole block.
01. Element spotted.
Roger that. Continuing evacuations.
There's a map of the city and all the explosives. It's become clear what their intentions are. They plan on leveling the city, but with the stockpile they have currently, their current plan is to blow up the neighbourhoods along with themselves. Mass suicide is their agenda. By doing this, they believe they will be transformed. I assume Andrew won't be around when this happens, since he is aiming to spread his religion to many others. But what about the children that were mentioned in the mission debrief? There are many signs that children live here, yet they're nowhere to be seen. Arresting certain suspects reveals something very dark about this cult.
Will I ever see them again? My little ones? I must have faith.
It's only until you arrest Andrew himself you learn the truth.
Vessel, I left you something in the basement.
We're with you.
TOC, we found a graveyard in the basement. Looks like it's their children.
Copy that. Entry team notifying the morgue.
Mother of God. Those graves. They're just children.
Now, why would Andrew make his followers commit such an act? Well, according to the verses written on the wall, transformation can only happen after death. His followers believed if they were worthy, Andrew would pull them out the soil. It says, "Let them echo his name in every corner of the heavens. We wait as his children in the darkness, choking soil and filth until he raises us to breathe." He made them believe the only way they could see their children again was to transform. The only way they could do that, however, was to commit mass suicide with the explosives, hoping that not only would they transform themselves, but also the non-believers in the neighbourhood. The farewells written all over the walls weren't just occult things, but a tribute to their children. Just like the Fairfax level, this one also took an incredibly dark turn. This level was obviously based on real cults that have existed. The Branch Davidians was one of them, the crazy cults that were behind the Waco massacre. Charles Manson too. Just like Andrew, he ran a death cult, where he would drug and manipulate his followers into killing for him. Though they weren't religious, it still shares similarities to Andrew. Anything that involves children is incredibly fucked, but again, it's the reality we live in. I think SWAT 4 handled the topic pretty well. Nothing is ever directly shown to you, only implied. Ready or Not also has levels surrounding this topic, but it is much darker. In that game, you track down a man producing certain material. You investigate multiple levels that give you leads until you eventually discover something really disturbing. The first bit of evidence we get is on this mission. We get called to a hostage situation, but it turns out the streamer was actually swatted. We discovered they're running an illegal Bitcoin farm, as well as this. We can see a messaging app, which definitely isn't meant to be Discord by the way, and it contains some messages and images. This gives us a lead to a children's talent agency, and this place is extremely fucked. I obviously do not need to go into detail on what happens here, as it's basically spelled out right in front of you. Parents are bringing their children here to give them opportunities. However, the place is secretly being used as a scouting operation for certain things. And the final lead leads you back to this place. The man that owns this home regularly uses their services, and it's here where the darkest thing is revealed. Down in his basement, you will find out he has an odd obsession of his own daughter. The implications are incredibly dark. You will also find many images down here along with this room. The pit is filled with barrels, and it's obvious what it's implying here. When he's done with certain victims, he removes all traces of them. Yeah, this game is extremely dark. Nothing is ever shown to you, it's always kept vague. It doesn't take a genius to fully understand the evil within these missions, and as I said before, shit like this happens in the real world. These missions are disgusting, but that's the entire point. Evil like this exists. These games are meant to show us the things law enforcement have to face. Yes, some of it is a bit dramatic, but not entirely unrealistic. Ready or Not has caught flack for even including such a thing, but it's meant to be a SWAT simulator after all. These guys are always the first in when it comes to these kinds of situations. Who knows what kind of shit they have seen? The horror is part of their job, and that's exactly what these two games try to show us.
Central BCC to Adam, Boy, Truck 1 on TAC 1.
U1, go ahead.
U1, SWAT is needed for rapid deployment at St. Michael's Medical Center. Detective 240 Adam requests you respond to the CP. Code 3, ongoing hospital invasion by multiple armed suspects. The target is believed to be a foreign diplomat undergoing emergency medical treatment. Suspects are armed with automatic weapons and equipped with bulletproof vests.
Our News 9 helicopter that SWAT has just entered the building to put an end to the situation.
Talk.
Here are the breaking
TVs are on and
details
here
at
the
this
damn
time.
reporters just gave away our entry.
Now this is a tricky one.
Next.
We are rapidly deployed to an ongoing assassination attempt at a medical centre. Unknown gunmen stormed into the building and brutally attacked anyone in their way. They're after a South Korean diplomat who managed to survive their first attack at a restaurant. They chased him down to this very place to finish what they started. Upon entering, the game immediately shows you what's at stake. This is the only mission in the game to have civilians dead on arrival, exposing you to the brutal nature of these kinds of attacks. They're not only shooting innocent civilians, but even doctors and nurses, going as far as to shoot children nurses too. The atmosphere is just so haunting. These guys are easily the toughest suspects in the game, wearing full ceramic armour and armed to the teeth. Even when you get them to surrender, there is no guarantee they won't shoot you in the back. All of the suspects in the previous levels were mostly carrying one weapon. As soon as they drop that weapon, they stay put. With these guys however, they won't drop both weapons after their initial surrender. They all keep a pistol on their side, giving them the ability to run away.
Hands up and get down! Police, get down now!
Suspect has complied.
And they can and will rejoin the fight. To prevent this, you simply have to look at the pistol and order them to drop it. But in the heat of the moment, this is easy to miss. The medical centre has 2 floors you will need to clear. Your objectives are to rescue all civilians, bring order to chaos, and save the South Korean diplomat. He can spawn anywhere and is surrounded by his own personal protection. Now, I could tell you that this is one of the hardest levels in the game, simply because of how insane these guys are, but honestly, it's actually pretty easy. Unlike the Diamond Store, this place is quite linear. There aren't many places to be flanked from, and most of the time, these guys are bunched up together, which creates some awkward moments. There is up to 16 gunmen who won't hesitate to shoot, meaning the rules of engagement are pretty loose. You don't have to worry about the dreaded unauthorized use of force here. But who are these guys? Well, it's left pretty vague. All we know is that they're here to kill a politician, obviously meaning it's politically motivated. You don't really learn who these guys really are. Are they part of a militia group? Are they being paid to do this? And was this possibly an inside job? They were originally meant to kill him at a restaurant, but the weird thing is, they knew exactly when he was going to be there, something that is usually kept under wraps for security reasons, but they still managed to get themselves well prepared for it. They're also extremely well armed. wearing tactical gear, using machine guns, and claim to have friends.
We've got friends. You'll see.
Obviously implying they know certain people who can get them out of this mess. Some of these guys do have some interesting things to say. If you manage to restrain them, some of them act confused, like they thought we were on their sides.
I thought you were on our side.
One guy even tells us not to waste any time and stop them.
Don't waste time with this. Stop them.
Now obviously, this is just speculation, but there's a chance these guys had a SWAT unit in on the job. There's nothing to really back that up, but I thought it was a fun theory. Every mission in this game is extremely well crafted. From their backstories, implications, horror and gameplay, this game was a joy to play through. There's still so much left for me to talk about, but I don't want this video to be 5 business days long. It's no wonder Ready or Not took massive inspiration from this game, and it wouldn't be crazy to consider it as a sequel. It's a spiritual successor to SWAT 4, and it nails a lot of the same things. From gameplay, atmosphere, environment and storytelling, it might as well be SWAT 5. It obviously improves a lot too, but that's not exactly hard to do when they're taking inspiration from a game that's 20 years old. I do however think SWAT 4 is better in some areas. For example, its atmosphere. Each level in this game was memorable for its tone and storytelling. I think the game also offers more variety in terms of missions, and the game always felt grounded. As I've said before, Ready or Not can feel a bit dramatic in some areas, and some of its design feels a bit scripted. SWAT 4 was raw and, in my opinion, a lot harder. I absolutely love both games, and I'm not trying to argue one is better than the other. You can buy this game on GOG for as little as $5. I can't recommend this game enough if you're into tactical shooters. Sure, it looks dated and some of the controls are weird at first, but it's exactly like Ready or Not with just worse graphics. This game didn't just set a standard for tactical shooters, it defined one. It showed that slow, methodical gameplay could be just as tense and thrilling as any run and gun shooter. Its focus on realism, grounded scenarios and unmatched atmosphere left an imprint that games like Ready or Not are still following today. 2 decades later, it's more than just a classic. It's a blueprint for how tactical shooters are made. If it wasn't for SWAT 4, Ready or Not wouldn't exist.